Welcome to our deep dive into the engine room of modern India, the Indian gig economy. This sector, defined as a free market system where organizations contract with independent workers for short-term engagements, has surged in recent years, built largely on the back of the smartphone revolution. It represents a profound transformation in how millions earn their livelihood. The sheer scale is staggering. India's gig workforce was estimated at 77 lakh workers in 2022-21 and is projected by Niti Aayog to expand rapidly to 2.35 crore workers by 2029-30. This number is expected to form a crucial 6.7% of the non-agricultural workforce by that time. To understand this landscape, we must first establish who these workers are. A gig worker is legally defined as a person who performs work or participates in a work arrangement and earns from such activities outside of a traditional employer-employee relationship. They are paid on a pay-per-task or hourly basis, rather than receiving a specific salary. Within this category, platform workers specifically rely on digital platforms or apps, such as Zomato, Swiggy, Uber, or Ola, to connect with clients. In contrast, non-platform workers include traditional self-employed or temporary workers, like construction laborers, who do not rely on digital applications. The remarkable growth of this economy is fueled by several powerful drivers. Firstly, expanding digital access in India, with high smartphone penetration and affordable internet, creates the necessary technological foundation for businesses and workers to connect. Secondly, India's thriving startup ecosystem often relies on hiring contractual freelancers for non-core tasks to avoid the high fixed costs associated with full-time employees. Thirdly, the changing priorities of the younger generations, including millennials and Gen Z, mean they prioritize flexibility and work-life balance, finding gig work appealing as it allows them the freedom to choose their projects and set their schedules. The gig economy presents itself as a realm of opportunity, and for many, it truly is. It offers flexibility to work from any location and provides a vital avenue for individuals, particularly youth and migrant workers, to secure finances and flexible hours. It also fosters an entrepreneurial mindset, with over 80% of gig workers on some platforms classified as self-employed. This sector extends far beyond blue-collar jobs, encompassing white-collar and specialized roles. We see this particularly well in the high-skill and creative sectors. High-skilled gig work constitutes about 22% of the gig workforce, including areas like graphic design, tutoring, and technology development. In the animation industry, many up-and-coming artists operate as freelancers or start their own studios because working full-time for established studios often yields abysmally low money and limited creativity. A freelance animator in India can earn an average of 60,000 rupee to 80,000 rupees a month. Even fields like ghostwriting are now considered part of the gig economy, with professional rates in India sometimes soaring as high as 15 lakh rupees for large projects. The shift in media consumption, driven by platforms like YouTube and OTT services, has made India a creator nation and a global, creative powerhouse, further expanding opportunities for filmmakers, artists, and content creators to monetize their skills. However, the glossy facade of flexibility often hides a precarious reality. The biggest challenge stems from the legal classification of these workers. Aggregator companies strategically label gig workers as partners or independent contractors rather than employees. This key distinction effectively absolves platforms of the legal responsibility to provide workers with basic social security, minimum wages, paid leave, health insurance, or pension plans, benefits that are mandatory for formal employees under traditional laws like the EPF or Minimum Wages Act. Critics argue that this structure merely perpetuates India's large, unregulated informal labor sector. The result is often harsh working conditions, characterized by long hours and income instability. Gig work lacks stability, leading to financial insecurity. Workers frequently report earning between 15,000 rupees to 20,000 rupees per month, a wage level often below the minimum required for a living. Studies indicate that many app-based cab drivers work over 14 hours a day, with over 83% working more than 10 hours, driven by the need to secure a volatile income. The promise of no boss is undercut by the reality that workers are constantly monitored and controlled by the platform's algorithm, which dictates work allocation, pricing, and timing. Arbitrary deactivations of accounts can occur without human oversight, resulting in sudden income loss. Furthermore, gig workers face significant personal risks, including industrial accidents and physical hazards, such as the reported incident where a delivery worker jumped from a building to evade a dog. The uncertainty and low incentives have led to collective resistance, notably through flash strikes, and a recent call by women gig workers for a nationwide digital strike known as Black Diwali to protest exploitative practices. In response to these persistent challenges, both central and state governments have begun to address worker welfare, though progress is uneven. The Union government formally recognized this segment in the Code on Social Security, 2020. This code mandates that central and state governments formulate suitable social security schemes for gig workers, covering areas like provident funds and health benefits. It also included a provision that aggregators must contribute 1 to 2% of their annual turnover to a social security fund. However, the code has faced criticism for providing benefits rather than granting labor rights and, crucially, its implementation has been significantly delayed because many states have yet to finalize the necessary rules. Despite the central lag, state governments have been pioneering reform. The Rajasthan Platform-Based Gig Workers Registration and Welfare Bill 2023, passed by the Rajasthan Assembly, is considered the first such legislation in India. This act establishes a welfare board that is funded by a cess fee on digital transactions made by consumers on the platforms. Similarly, the Karnataka government has drafted the Karnataka Platform-Based Gig Workers Social Security and Welfare Bill 2024, following a similar welfare board model, and the Telangana government is also drafting its own bill to ensure registration and social security. On the welfare front, the union government has initiated measures aimed at formal recognition and health coverage. It has announced intentions to arrange for workers' identity cards and registration on the eShram portal, which serves as a national database for unorganized workers. Critically, it has provided that nearly 1 crore gig workers will be covered by healthcare under the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana (PMJ). In conclusion, India's gig economy is a powerful force, driving digital transformation and providing flexible employment to millions. Yet, the fundamental dilemma remains: gig workers are currently perched precariously on the edge of the unregulated labor pool. Their work conditions are obscured by the fact that India's primary labor statistics source, the Periodic Labour Force Survey (PLFS), still does not have a distinct classification for gig workers, instead grouping them under vague categories like self-employed or casual labor, making their unique vulnerabilities statistically invisible. To truly harness India's demographic dividend and ensure dignity of labor, the regulatory mechanism must move beyond minimal welfare measures toward a comprehensive legal framework. The key is removing the ambiguity in employment relations and holding aggregators accountable, ensuring that the innovation they represent is balanced with the fundamental rights and protections deserved by their massive, invaluable workforce.